Okay. Wow. And it's about to do it again. Okay. There we go. So, as you guys know, tomorrow I have them coming out to find out what the noise is on my line, because as I watch right now, the bit rate is all over the place. Fastest internet, I have the fastest internet you can possibly have, but there's noise on the line, and so I have someone coming out and they're going to be checking the boxes and everything to find out why that noise is. It's the absolute reason why you guys keep getting these freezes, why streams start over on YouTube, and the reason why we get these drops with OBS. So that should hopefully be dealt with tomorrow. So my idea of streaming early, early in the day, probably won't happen because I don't know how long it's going to take them. What I hope is that they do not have to fuck around and rip out the wiring they have out there in order to replace it, because that just puts me at a disadvantage work-wise and everything else. But anyway, back to what we were saying. No, tomorrow there still will be a stream, because when they leave, I plan on streaming almost immediately after they leave, unless I'm in the middle of some work. Then we'll have a evening stream again. But what I was saying is, when it comes down to it, there's no reason for someone of that age to have an AR, probably to even have a gun. If they don't feel that you can be responsible enough to carry a handgun concealed, how are you responsible enough to hold an AR style weapon? I don't get it. The logic there is dumbfounding. It's complete idiocy, to be honest about it. B, you hopping back in? We're going to run another match or not? I'm pretty sure you need to fill out the forms and go through a background check to get a firearm at a gun show. And if you're selling to people underage, you're breaking the law. You don't need to do it. You do not need to fill out the forms, go through a background check. People go to gun shows and they buy guns right then and there and gone. I've seen it happen. I don't go and visit gun shows. I just don't care to. But the time that I have, and in Arizona, they have the fucking gun shows out here, and I have gone and seen, literally. So tell me something about that weapon there. Yeah, it's 145. And, wait. Okay, how much are we talking? Oh, okay, cool. You accept cash? Yeah, I do. All right, cool. All right, have a nice day. And gone. Gone. That simple. I'm not kidding. We all know it happens. That's why so many people push for the gun laws to include certain things about gun shows, because of the fact that everyone knows it's happening. It is an unregulated situation. The gun show, it's like a fucking swap. It's a fucking swap meet for guns. That's what it is. It is. It's like a fucking garage sale for guns. Dead ass. That's what that whole situation is like. And that's how people do it there. They don't care the consequences because nobody's watching it. I think more people die from cars. Well, okay. As far as mass shootings are concerned, and I hate making this comparison because it's unfair and it's not equal on some level. But as far as mass shootings go, when you compare, everybody always likes to make the comparison. Flying is safer than driving. Yeah, the odds of your plane going down, things like that, you have a higher odds of getting into a car crash. Mass shootings can be placed in that same table. It's unfair to do so, but it can be done. And as far as the deaths, though, the death toll, it is a situation where I'd have to fully look at the numbers in the United States, how many total gun deaths there are per year as a whole versus the total number of deaths due to accidents. That's something I will have to look up because I don't have that number implanted in here already, unlike numerous other numbers that I have implanted up here. But what I will say is this. If we take them as two equal things, all right, a car and a gun. If I were to go out, and this is a horrible picture to paint. If I were to go out, no one's stopping me, I get in that car, and I decide that I'm going to hit every person that I see on the sidewalk until that car gives out. That car is going to give out quicker, much quicker than if I took my AR, went and bought all the ammo I could and wanted, the right vest, had enough space to actually carry multiple clips, stendos too, body piercing armor as well. I could go out and do, I would place bets that I could go out and do more damage with that than I could in that car. Because the mechanics of that car are going to fall apart and break down much quicker as I'm trying to hop the sidewalk. The fucking tire might blow for all I know based on whatever tires I have on there. Maybe I have some mean ass Toyos, VF Goodrich, whatever, that are meant for fucking 60,000 miles, 100,000 miles plus. But if I hit the wrong thing, at some point the damage to that car will cease the functionality of that car. And you have to remember that in a lot of vehicles too, when you get into accidents, the thing that stops the vehicle from constantly going, even if you're out cold and your foot is still slamming on that gas, is because there are specific break points set up in the design that upon impact pretty much drop the engine to the extent that it is no longer, that combustible engine is no longer able to maintain any fluidity or movement, even though you're slamming on the gas and you're out cold. Whereas nothing's stopping me from I'm out and I'm just going and going and going. Like I said, all things being equal and no one's trying to stop me, I can do more damage with said rifle than I could with a car. Now, if all things are equal still, and there's certain inevitable things that are going to stop me, I could still do more damage with that gun than I could with that car, because driving down the street, still, I have obstacles that are going to come in my way, which I'm going to crash into, which are going to stop my spree. It is more likely you are not rushing me if I have this weapon in hand, and if you have no weapon on hand, and if I'm at a better vantage point than you are with your handgun versus me and my AR. That's the problem with trying to, make these discernments and these comparisons between cars and guns. The fact of the matter is, we treat individuals a certain way when it comes to driving a car. You have to go through classes. You have to get your license. You have to maintain specific things. Like you have to go into the DMV. Most nowadays, in some places, it's like a 20 to 40 year period of time before you ever have to go in and renew your license. However, if you are pulled over anything and there's some kind of substance use, or there's some kind of substance use involved, or because your eyes have gone bad and you're making poor judgment calls on the road, your license can be revoked. With a gun, however, if you can just go and simply buy a gun, no training whatsoever, you don't understand the simple the simplest rules of carrying a firearm, storing a firearm, the purposes behind that firearm and what it can do. Well, fuck driver's licenses, because honestly, I've known how to drive since I was 8 years old. Honestly, I could actually drive at 14, reach the pedals, everything on my own. And in fact, overseas, was able to drive in some cases. In the States, however, I have to at least be 16 in order to actually get licensed. And for the first portion of that, usually you have to have a parent or adult with you while you're on a permit. But we don't have some kind of laws that, I mean, somewhat equate to that when it comes to gun purchases. And anybody can own them. Let's keep it a full stack right now, all right? And I'm not saying anything bad about individuals who have disabilities and things like that. But you do know that they don't let certain individuals with certain disabilities drive, right? But we would let an individual who has mental health concerns, history of, where was he hitting me from?